Alien fans are an often abused bunch. Time and again, products with the Alien name slapped on come out to further drag the once impeccable brand name through the mud. One of the more painful and recent additions to the list is Alien's Colonial Marines, which initially seemed so promising, but fails to evoke the paranoid terror of the early films, and is a buggy, broken mess.
It's fine, we're fine!
It's easy to understand then why many are skeptical of Alien Isolation. Developer Creative Assembly claims to understand the things that make the series tick. Turns out their promises are only partly true. The game does successfully capture what so many have failed to achieve. The alien is both terrifying and truly a threat. During its best moments, when you're huddled underneath a desk and the hissing, hulking xenomorph is inches away, Isolation is exhilarating. However, odd pacing issues and an overly effective weapon prevent the game from reaching excellence. If there's one thing Creative Assembly nailed, it's how the environments look. After a brief narration by the one and only Lieutenant Ellen Ripley, you awaken from hypersleep as her daughter Amanda aboard the Torrens spacecraft. The view is immediately striking. The Torrens is lovingly and painstakingly detailed. With its translucent CRT monitors and predominantly white surfaces, the game immerses you into the lo-fi 1979 vision of Alien effectively. Walking through the ship's halls for the first time, hearing the generators whir to life, and seeing the lights tick on is a powerful moment for anyone that cares about the original film.
I don't know how you people put up with hypersleep regularly.
Not long after first stepping foot on the Torrens, you're whisked away to Sevastopol, a derelict and largely abandoned space station. Amanda's purpose on the station is to find the Nostromo's flight recorder, which could offer clues about her mother, who's been missing for 15 years. Whereas the Torrens feels uncomfortably sterile, Sevastopol is dirty and industrial. Graffiti adorns the walls, exposed wires hang from torn-apart ceilings, and bloodied corpses regularly turn up. While mostly optional, scattered computer terminals contain logs from Sevastopol higher-ups, citizens, and others that slowly coalesce into a singular account of the station's history. It's just disappointing that Isolation rarely goes in unexpected directions. Predictable names are involved in predictable evil doings in predictable ways. Even those casually versed in alien mythology will find many beats a little too familiar. Yet there is some value in piecing it all together. Hearing and reading different reports from different perspectives grounds Sevastopol in an appreciable way. The station becomes more than just a haunted house in space, and instead functions as a place of suffering, greed, and general deceit.
My name's Ripley. I'm with the company.
You spend far more time crawling around trying to survive than you do digesting plot. At the start, you're given rather meager means to defend yourself, but it doesn't take long to acquire what is easily the most essential tool. While other games utilize the motion tracker to varying degrees of success, it works especially well with Isolation's setup. It's a special kind of terror, pulling up the motion tracker only to realize it's beeping frantically and the massive black creature is practically breathing down your neck. Since the motion tracker only shows where the alien is and not its line of sight or which direction it's facing, the device comes with a large degree of uncertainty, making the alien even more terrifying. The early parts are the most fear-inducing. During these sections, the alien is at its most potent. It can't be outrun or killed and will instantly murder you on sight. Few games have made us feel so utterly helpless. Adding to the stress is the fact that the game doesn't autosave, instead relying on save stations that have to be manually activated. Those that groan at the thought of doing the same section of a game repeatedly will want to stay clear of Alien Isolation. While it can be frustrating, it also makes the times you are successful that much more momentous. The game does give a little bit. The difficulty can be adjusted at any time, so those pulling their hair out can just knock it down and plow forward. That being said, our best experience was on the hardest setting. The alien is at its most sensitive, with seemingly the slightest sound tipping it off. Crafting is one of the game's stronger aspects because of how limited it feels. Many items share components, meaning that if you craft a noisemaker, for instance, you may not be able to build something else. Additionally, you can only craft an item after acquiring the appropriate blueprint located somewhere in the station. It's possible to miss a blueprint, making exploration vital. Of course, the more time spent looking for blueprints and crafting components, the more time the alien or something else has to come and find you. Unfortunately, as the game progresses, the tense moments of survival feel less emphasized as Amanda becomes more and more capable. Eventually, you acquire a flamethrower, which dramatically changes the tone. A few short blasts of fire are all it takes for the alien to screech and then scurry away into a vent. What was once a menacing monster becomes little more than a nuisance. It would be tolerable if gas for the flamethrower was in short supply, but we always felt like there was more than enough to keep the alien at bay. Perhaps the game is trying to empower the player by turning the tables, but it's not the only instance of it feeling off. At around the halfway mark, the alien just goes away for reasons we won't spoil. For a game that made so much noise about a lone alien hunting the player, it's surprising that it disappears for such an inordinate amount of time.
That isn't to your liking.
Filling the void are aggressive androids, but they're far less interesting. In small doses, like when you encounter them early on, the androids are terrifying in the way Japanese dolls are terrifying with their all-white faces and soulless stares. The problem is that the androids never move faster than a quick march, making them easy to outrun. As a sort of interstitial challenge between alien encounters, the androids work well, but as a main threat, they don't build the same level of tension. Even worse is that to make the less capable androids more of a challenge, small hordes are thrown at you. By then, your arsenal is filled out with a shotgun, pipe bombs, EMP mines, and a powerful bolt gun. While it's often possible to run by the androids, there are times when you have to shoot your way forward. The need to devolve into these action-oriented scenes is puzzling when the stealth and survival sections are the game's strongest. As a result, Isolation is a game that gets less interesting as it gives you more weapons.
You pushed me into this!
Equally disappointing is Survivor Mode, or at least what ships with the game. Survivor Mode distills the best part of Alien Isolation and turns it into a leaderboard challenge. You have to hunt for an exit while avoiding the alien. The quicker you get out, the higher the score. Completing optional objectives also boosts the score. Although it only takes a few minutes to finish, it's a thrill trying to reach the end without any sort of map to fall back on. The problem is that there's only one challenge included. Once it's done, you have to wait to purchase the DLC that arrives at the end of the month. Not only is it unfortunate that there's hardly anything to do after finishing the story, it feels like the game is withholding what could have been one of its strongest aspects behind a paywall. Alien Isolation is worth experiencing, but at the same time, feels like lost potential. There's nothing quite like playing elaborate hide-and-seek with the alien. It's just a shame that so much baggage comes along with it. Fans may have finally gotten a good Alien game, but they may have to wait longer for a great one.